Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're decoding the absolute biological mystery behind modern burnout. We're going to be unpacking some seriously fascinating insights from 2Life Health that completely reframe relaxation. We're not talking about laziness or some weekend luxury here. We're talking about relaxation as a highly strategic wellness skill. So get ready, because we are going to completely change how you view your downtime.
I mean, think about this for a second. Why are you so incredibly tired when you barely even moved today? It's a ridiculous paradox, isn't it? You didn't run a marathon. The most strenuous thing you literally did was reach for your mouse or, maybe nod really intensely on a Zoom call. Yet, after surviving just this endless stream of pings, shifting priorities, and a 24/7 news cycle, you feel completely spent by the time evening rolls around. What's happening is that you are carrying a massive mental load, and your body feels the absolute weight of it, even without a single ounce of physical exertion.
If you've been carrying around any guilt about that exhaustion, feeling like you just don't have enough energy, let this core idea sink in right now. Exhaustion without exertion is not a personal failing. It is an evolutionary mismatch. Honestly, this single idea just rips the shame right out of the equation. That heavy, dragging feeling you're carrying, it goes so much deeper than just having a rough day at the office or needing another cup of coffee. Your body is actually reacting exactly the way it was built to. The problem? It's reacting to a modern world it was absolutely not built for.
And this comparison brilliantly illustrates the core issue. When we look at historical stress versus modern stress, the mismatch becomes incredibly obvious. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors faced physical, acute threats. Think, literally running from a lion. It had a clear beginning and, crucially, a clear endpoint. You either survived the lion or, well, you didn't. But either way, the event ended, and that naturally led to a period of deep rest and recovery. But today's modern stressors? They are totally abstract, and they are endless. Getting a quick question Slack message at 8 p.m. doesn't actually end. The inbox just keeps refilling itself. There's literally no natural resolution point to tell your body that the threat is past. But here is the kicker. Your brain treats that tiny 8 p.m. notification identically to the lion.
Because there's no clear endpoint to all this, our bodies are paying a massive, massive price. 77%, according to the American Institute of Stress, that is the percentage of people who regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress. Just think about that for a second. More than 3/4 of us are physically manifesting the burden of modern life. I mean, this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that we aren't dealing with individual weakness or a lack of grit here. We are dealing with a systemic, structural mismatch between our ancient biology and the relentless demands of today.
And digital connectivity is perhaps the most intense example of this genuinely new kind of stress. See, the human brain evolved to live and interact in communities of roughly 150 people. That's a well-known cognitive limit called Dunbar's number. But today, every single time you open a social media app, you're instantly exposed to thousands of opinions, interactions, arguments, and points of social comparison. The result is this low-grade, persistent activation of your threat response that our ancestors simply never, ever had to experience on a daily basis.
So, what is actually happening inside your body when that aggressive email lands in your inbox? Well, it comes down to this biological system, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal or HPA axis. When your brain perceives a threat, it activates this axis, instantly flooding your entire body with cortisol and adrenaline to prepare you for fight or flight. Now, for a short-term physical threat, this is brilliant engineering. It saves your life. But when cortisol stays chronically elevated, because those modern threats never actually stop, it disrupts your sleep, it impairs your immune function, it drives up inflammation, and it completely hijacks your ability to think clearly. To fix this, we have to look at the biological antidote, the parasympathetic nervous system. You see, calming down isn't just about feeling nice. It is about fundamentally shifting the balance of your autonomic nervous system. Unlike the fight-or-flight sympathetic state we were just talking about, the parasympathetic state is the rest and digest branch. When this is active, your heart rate actually slows down, your breathing gets deeper, and your brain shifts from being reactive to being reflective. It is literally the biological state where physical healing happens, where your creativity lives, and where your best, most optimal thinking actually occurs.
And this brings us to a massive cultural myth that we desperately need to bust right now. We are constantly sold this idea that relentless hustle and just pushing through the stress equals success. But the biological reality? Under chronic threat, your prefrontal cortex literally goes offline. This is the part of your brain responsible for planning, taking perspective, and making rational decisions. Under stress, your brain automatically prioritizes basic survival circuits over those advanced reflective parts. You literally cannot think your best when you are stressed out. Chronic stress just leads to poor boundaries, highly reactive decisions, and that awful feeling of constantly being behind.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. A regulated nervous system thinks better, sees more options, and doesn't instantly catastrophize. We need to completely flip the script on how we view rest. Intentional relaxation is not laziness. It is definitely not an act of avoidance. Calming your nervous system before you try to navigate a complex challenge or make a big decision is actually a high-level strategic maneuver. You stop sending those reactive, defensive emails, and you start seeing the actual big picture. You are basically bringing your smartest brain online to solve the problem.
So how do we actively engage this regulated state? Well, there are some highly effective, evidence-backed tools you can use to activate that parasympathetic response. First is slow, diaphragmatic breathing. And the trick here is fascinating. Making your exhale longer than your inhale directly stimulates your vagus nerve in just a matter of minutes. Second, spending 20 to 30 minutes out in nature. Research shows this significantly drops your cortisol levels. Then there's gentle movement like yoga or even just walking to bridge the gap between tension and ease. Next is setting firm digital boundaries, especially reducing screen time first thing in the morning and right before bed. And finally, resting without guilt. Listen to me on this one. Simply sitting quietly without a screen or a task is active recovery. It is absolutely not wasted time.
When you use those tools to calm the nervous system first, strategic thinking naturally becomes a daily wellness habit. For instance, just pausing before you respond to something isn't just polite, it physically creates a gap between a trigger and your reaction, which changes the quality of your response dramatically. Identifying what's actually in your control helps you let go of those massive external systems you can't change anyway, which saves you immense amounts of energy. Prioritizing with intention allows you to focus only on the 2 or 3 things that truly matter for the day. And designing your environment shapes your physical surroundings to reduce unnecessary stressors. A calm brain executes all of these things seamlessly.
The real beauty of this whole approach is that true wellness doesn't require some impractical, complete life overhaul. You don't need to suddenly wake up at 4 a.m. to meditate for 2 hours, right? It's really about these highly actionable, micro-scale daily anchors. And they can look as simple as this. Step 1, a simple morning moment of stillness. We're talking even just 2 minutes before you reach for your phone. Step 2, a midday reset, maybe a short walk or literally just a few deep breaths at your desk. Step 3, an evening wind-down ritual, like dimming the lights and stepping away from screens to signal to your brain that the day is complete. And Step 4, just one honest daily check-in to ask yourself, hey, how am I actually feeling right now, and what do I need?
Now, what is really interesting about this concept is how it shifts the entire paradigm. The most sustainable path to wellness isn't discipline, it's design. I absolutely love this. We have got to stop trying to white-knuckle our way through stress using pure willpower and discipline. It simply doesn't work in the long term. Instead, when you actually understand your own biology, you can start building daily rhythms and a lifestyle specifically designed to support your nervous system. You build a life where balance is the actual foundation, rather than some impossible goal you're just constantly running after.
Which leaves us with one final, very practical challenge to end this explainer. Can you take just one intentional breath right now? Seriously, breathe in for 4 counts and then exhale slowly for 6 or 8. Start small. Remember, ease isn't just some personality trait that a few people are lucky enough to be born with. It is a skill. It's a skill that is cultivated and practiced over time. Choose to treat your nervous system not as some annoying obstacle you have to push through, but as a vital partner you need to care for. Take that breath and start treating relaxation as your ultimate strategic skill.